Graham Watson, Liberal Democrat MEP for the South West. Dyson have lodged a complaint to the European Court of Justice against energy efficiency measures that will come into force next year. What's your reaction?
I'm very pleased they've done so. We introduced this energy labelling to allow consumers to know how much energy an appliance consumes and therefore how much damage it is doing to the planet and how much cost there will be for them. But the tests that are being used fail to take account of some quite remarkable features of the Dyson product. It is a product that works without a bag, for example. Therefore, you don't need to replace the bags or the filters in the way that you would with older designs of vacuum cleaners. It's a product which works in a very special way in the way it uses electricity that perhaps the test doesn't quite pick up. I wish James Dyson every success. He has a brilliant team of entrepreneurs at his factory in Wiltshire, and I believe they are world beaters.
I mean, shouldn't this have all been sorted out at a much earlier stage? These are European laws that have gone through the process years ago here through the European Parliament. Shouldn't it have been picked up then? Isn't it all rather too late?
Well, I think the case is arguable. The tests that are used are tests that measure the vacuum, but they do so in laboratory conditions without the use of dust. Now, that's not the way you use a vacuum cleaner at home. And while I think that they were logically designed, it's not a logic which actually helps us to tell the consumer how environmentally sound a product is. I wish James Dyson every success with this appeal.
I mean, reading between the lines, it sounds like Dyson is expecting to come off worse than other brands in its energy efficiency rating when this label comes into force. If that is the case, what could be the damage done to the Dyson brand and ultimately jobs in Wiltshire?
Well, it certainly won't help if they get a very low, well, they won't get a very low labelling, but lower perhaps than they deserve. But what we do want to make sure is that we're protecting jobs in Wiltshire, but particularly that we're protecting innovation. And James Dyson's design is an innovative design, different from the others. We have to take account of that.
Can you explain the European process? Because that's something that people won't be familiar with. Now a case has been lodged with the European Court of Justice. What happens next? Is a procedure that can be followed that could ultimately see him win this?
Well, now the case has been lodged. Realistically, the European Commission should desist from moving forward with their labelling law until that case has been settled. But at the very least, I hope that if James Dyson wins this case, it will lead to a review and to a review of labelling. And that will make sure that Dyson can show consumers how very energy efficient and how very environmentally sound his new vacuum cleaners are.
Just briefly, is there anything you can do as an MEP to support his claim, considering it's a company local in your constituency?
Well, he's gone the route of the courts, but I can certainly support him by talking to those in the Commission who design these tests, by talking to the scientific advisors and saying, come on, have another look at this. You don't necessarily want to fight this case in the courts. He has a good case, just study it properly.